individual who at random chose number 2. And here comes Smashdown.
Howard Finkel. Howard Finkel's amazing. Guys, welcome to Call It in the Ring. We are going to be calling it one more time right here live on that hashtag show. We're going to be talking about the latest wrestling news along with breakdowns for WWE Raw and SmackDown, of course. And like I said, the latest wrestling news. Now, before we get into all that, I am Joe, joined again by my esteemed colleague, Kevin, who was just on the Doctor Who show. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Doctor Who, explain what Doctor Who is real quick.
Doctor Who is about this time traveler who goes across time and space and saves the universe, and he's great.
He is great. And Kevin was holding that show down. That's over on Pop Culture Renegades. You can check that out right now. But before we get into that, we have a few things I want to talk about. Number one is,
first of all, I apologize if I have to blow my nose.
Yeah, Kevin's a little under the weather. You didn't get to see that on the Doctor Who show, but it's coming in a lot now because it's a little bit later here.
Number 2 is, I want to do my Howard Finkel impersonation.
Go.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
You did it great, actually. That's actually really good.
Thanks.
You should introduce the show like that, I feel like, every week now.
We're calling it In the Ring with Joe and Kevin.
Can you do the Howard Finkel where CM Punk brought him out as an announcer?
And new! Okay, I'm getting worse as we go.
Where he forgot like his lines in the beginning.
He was so happy to be there, though.
The smile
and the crowd was great for him, and the announcers shat out him for no good reason.
But then Punk came out and was like, come on, like, let's go. That was great. But if you guys didn't know, to pull the curtain back a little bit, the WWE was live from Chicago this week, which is one of those hotbed towns that we were talking about earlier. It's one of those cities where, you get this undeniable energy. I feel
there was some energy denied last night, though.
Yeah.
I don't think they were as hot for Finn as I had hoped.
Well, that's because WWE. But the show started off hot with John Cena and Elias. We're gonna get into that in a second. Before we get into all of that, let's talk about some of the things we have going on right now. We have the THS Hashtaggers group that keeps the conversation going for all of you guys at home. That keeps you up to date with everything trending, keep pop culture. We also have the TeePublic store, which is helps support the show. We have our merchandise there. There's a lot of cool geek shirts there that you guys can wear. So like this shirt's in there, the Doctor Strange hashtag show shirt, Stranger Things mashup. That's in there. And last but not least, we have the super chat feature. So that helps support the show. Hit that S button right by the emoji button. That keeps your questions or comment up longer on the chat. So that'll leave that there. Now, I do want to talk about Chicago. How hotbed towns in the WWE have Chicago's one of them. Like obviously Madison Square Garden, New York City is another one. And Toronto, maybe Los Angeles. Let's talk about yesterday's crowd reaction.
They were hot for some stuff.
They were hot in the beginning with John Cena.
They hated Elias,
which was great.
And they hated Cena, but then they kind of liked Cena.
And the CM Punk chants were strong in the beginning.
And I really liked Elias saying CM Punk isn't going to help.
Elias was great. Like I think in this this week's Raw, he really stood out to me as being a top level talent. And that might have been the test. Him working with John Cena may have showed management that, hey, this guy can go. He had a great match. This guy can go. He had a great match, and there's somebody you can bank on in the future. I really, really was impressed with Elias's performance in that.
I've always actually really liked him. And when he first came out in NXT, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I thought he looks like Randy Savage to me. I was like, holy shit. And then in that match, he did an elbow off the top rope as his finisher, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I am really happy that Elias is getting, and it's crazy because Triple H talks about Elias, and he says when they first got him, he's like, this guy's he's ready for the main roster, like he should go to the main roster, and it really goes to show that he really is ready for the main roster. Elias is killing it on. They did drop his last name. What was it? Elias Sampson,
right?
Yeah. They did drop that, but I think 2018 is going to be Elias's year. I think that he'll get a solid run, maybe Intercontinental Championship, and hopefully put himself in the main event picture, possibly with a Money in the Bank win.
Would be great. I think he'd be a perfect Money in the Bank winner.
Yeah. So moving on to that.
Thomas Franco thinks it's going to be Cena versus Styles again for the title. I'm hoping you don't say at WrestleMania.
I hope not.
And Cena can't win against Styles again, can he?
No.
Craig walks with Elias. Good for you, Craig.
By the way, my favorite part of Raw was, do you know what WWE stands for? It was like, we walk with Elias. Or walk with Elias. I was like, that's brilliant. This guy's great. And even John Cena, that caught him off guard. He was like, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, you could tell the look on his face. Personally, for me, I don't want to see John Cena and AJ Styles at any pay-per-view. I'd love,
unless AJ is going to go over, and he's not, so don't do it.
Well, he's went over for the majority of their run, though. That's why you.
But at the end, the one that the last chapter of the book, Cena came out on top, won the title.
Cena did come out on top for the title. That was SummerSlam?
I think SummerSlam was where it started.
It was somewhere around there. Well, regardless, I would like to see John Cena. You know what? I will say this. I'm really happy the fact that John Cena worked with somebody like Elias, because he's doing exactly what's right for the business. And I think that John Cena is what's right for the business. He's working with a lot of these younger guys. Now, he's not putting them over right now, but he's at least giving them the experience.
I think WrestleMania gets Cena against Jinder.
Really?
I think that's the Cena match.
Cena goes over for sure.
And I'm fine with that.
I am too. And especially with Jinder, I think both those guys benefit from that match. I like it. Let's book it. But right now he's on Raw. So how do you get there?
Well, Cena's a tweener. Cena can go anywhere he wants right now.
I don't like that. Just like you're a tweener. You're on PCR and Hashtag Show.
That's right. I'm all over the
place. You're the John Cena of Hashtag Show. You're the John Cena PCR.
Remind me to hate myself.
No, but realistically, I do like the Jinder Cena matchup. The only difference is, I honestly think that with somebody like Elias, is that he's more athletic than Jinder Mahal.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be a great match.
Yeah, we got to go.
I'm saying what I think will happen.
10 minutes, open the show.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. And open the show with John Cena is not a bad option. I mean, he's a decent...
Any match for Jinder Mahal with John Cena is a great option. Anybody who gets to work with John Cena, especially younger talent, very, very lucky. Even though Cena beat Elias last night, it's like, like you say, it was a test.
Kevin, call in the ring right now. It's John Cena, 17-time world champion?
It's going to happen.
You think so?
I think it's going to happen.
I'm going to say it doesn't. Will not happen. John Cena will retire before he gets to that 17th title victory. Now, there's a lot of rumor that's been going around in the world of professional wrestling. Are we going to be seeing Dave Bautista coming back to the WWE?
Sounds like he wants to.
Do we see him in the Royal Rumble?
I'd be fine with that.
Does he win the Royal Rumble?
I would not be fine with that.
A lot of people weren't when he did win the Royal Rumble.
That's the thing. But he's not even talking about doing he's talking about even doing house shows and stuff like that.
He wants a full run. He wants a full-time run. This is the rumor. Listen, I talked to Dave Bautista for the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then again I met with him for which is ironically enough, for Blade Runner, which was also happening the same night as a WWE pay-per-view. Like, was the night I met with him. So I for sure was like, he has to be. And by the way, when we did Blade Runner, we were in downtown LA at the JW Marriott, and the pay-per-view was literally right across the way at the Staples Center. And I remember thinking that he has to be here for this pay-per-view. Like, he's gonna. But he never showed up on the pay-per-view. But maybe the negotiations took place.
It's weird because whenever he would talk about wrestling on Twitter, it would always be like, man, what a bunch of shit.
Yeah. I got that same vibe. Now, what do you think changed him?
I think when he came back the first time, it was similar to when The Rock left to Hollywood and came back. And when he came back the last time, it was like, here's your new champion. And we're like, fuck off, man. You just got here. Why not have people who've been around for the year be champion? And I think now if he comes back and he's not champion, especially since Guardians has been so huge, and he's very, very likable in those movies. He's phenomenal in those movies.
But not just that, but I think that with his acting realistically, Like in Blade Runner, he is amazing. Have you seen it?
I didn't see the new Blade Runner.
Oh man, he's great in it. Like he's almost unrecognizable. He doesn't play Drax. He doesn't play Dave Bautista. It's a great role for him. It's a small role, but a great role for him. I personally think that like with his, especially with Infinity War coming out, you got to think if they do this very soon with Infinity War coming out, Dave Bautista being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that is a huge get for the WWE.
It is.
There is no way that they are going to deny that. It's just using them the right way. And I think that was the biggest problem with the first run is that WWE does one thing and they don't necessarily listen to us, the fans, when it comes down to what's real. And when Dave Bautista was inserted into the main event at WrestleMania against Triple H, and people wanted Daniel Bryan, you're damn sure I wanted Daniel Bryan too. We all wanted Daniel Bryan.
It wasn't even going to be Triple H. It was going to be him and Orton.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, it was going to be him and Orton. That's what I meant to say. How ridiculous, right?
Yeah, man.
Like the WWE, I sometimes feel like they're out of touch.
Well, here, tell you what, James Hamlin and Craig Anderson, they're talking about when he got booed when he came back.
Blue Tista?
Blue Tista was great, and it really bothered him. For anybody who doesn't know, there was a night where Evolution came out, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, and Triple H and Randy Orton, I don't remember what they're wearing. They're wearing like normal black or normal whatever.
Came out in blue.
And he had like this crazy blue, and instead of, first of all, the crowd had chanted Boo Tista because they were booing him, Boo Tista, which was very, very funny. And then that night they chanted Blue Tista. And I'm not a big chant guy. I'm tired of chants, but when something's fucking funny, it's fucking funny. And that really made me laugh.
So, with Batista possibly coming back now, does he insert well into the main roster?
Well, first of
and
all,
where do you see him on Raw or SmackDown?
I see him as a good guy. I see him on Raw. And I don't know, maybe... You know, Vince likes big guys against big guys. Maybe he messes around with Braun. Maybe did we ever get a Batista and Brock Lesnar match?
Well, we got it in OVW where it was Leviathan against Brock Lesnar, but we never got it in WWE proper.
Okay,
that never happened.
But
I would love to see that.
That's my guess for SummerSlam.
You know what?
Batista and Goldberg. Brock Lesnar.
Batista, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar.
Sorry,
no, you're good. No, realistically though, the Batista Lesnar match intrigues me a little bit, mainly because we got. If you go back, I don't know if is OVW on the network.
I don't know.
If OVW is on the WWE network, both they were in First of all, they had the most stacked class in developmental at the time. It was Shelton Benjamin.
Cena.
John Cena, Batista, Brock Lesnar, Charlie Haas. There's a lot of other guys that were in there too that I was just like, wow, that's insane. There was a ton of them. But there was a match that was Leviathan against Brock Lesnar, and that is in OVW. And that was Batista against Brock Lesnar. Match was pretty good for rookies. I'd love to see them do it now. However, Batista's been out of the game for quite a while.
Sure.
So he's gonna need to wipe that ring rust off, and I think that we're gonna need to see the. Listen, Batista was at his height when he beat Triple H at WrestleMania.
You know what else OVW had was Brock Lesnar doing shooting star presses left and right.
Yes, and this is where they got that idea for WrestleMania.
And they were great. It was like spot on every time. And then they go to WrestleMania 19.
I believe that was his finisher, though.
Was it his finisher?
That was his finisher at the time. And then they moved to the F5 in WWE. But, yeah, the shooting star press was his finisher. And it makes sense why they had him stop doing it because he's such a big guy, and
sure.
it takes away from the smaller guys that do it. I get that. But, man.
It was going to be the greatest moment in WrestleMania history.
And it was impressive as shit. Like, having Brock Lesnar go up to the top rope and do a shooting star press. You kidding me?
I mean, I'm old and my memory fades, but I firmly remember him going to the top rope and all of us in the room going, "What the fuck is he doing?" And when he missed hit, we all were just like, "Oh, what is this?"
All right, so I do want to switch gears for a second, and I want to talk about sometimes wrestling gets real. it's always real to me. It's always real to me. But sometimes it does get real, and Dean Ambrose is injured. He's injured his elbow, and he's out for 9 months.
That's rough. It's
rough. Now, Kevin, talk to me about some of the ramifications that are going to happen in that period of time.
Well, ain't no Shield.
Right? That's the first glaring thing.
I was under the feeling that WrestleMania had Dean turning on Seth, and we would have a match for them there.
I thought that too. I thought they were building it.
Definitely not going to happen.
Wait, how disappointed would you be now if it's Seth Rollins, Jason Jordan?
I'm in Jason Jordan's corner.
But you gotta want to see Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle though, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I want to see that.
But we got to get that at WrestleMania.
Speaking of WrestleMania, and speaking of Thomas Franco's bringing up Caitlyn, Lita, and Trish Stratus being at the Royal Rumble, perhaps.
Let's go to the comments. Why don't you lead us with the comments there, Kevin?
Well, I want to talk about my thing.
Oh, go to talk about your.
No. Let's look through here because I've been kind of hitting a little bit here.
Hey, we're just calling in the ring,
man. Craig Anderson's favorite Royal Rumble match is Jericho and The Rock. I thought that was for the WCW title, right? I feel that was for the WCW title.
It may have been. I don't know about that though.
My favorite Royal Rumble match is hard to even think about right now or ever again because it's Benoit and Kurt Angle. And it was amazing.
That was a good one though.
It was amazing.
Are you talking about all right, so we're not talking about the actual Royal Rumble match. We're just talking about any match in the Royal Rumble. Yeah. It's cards. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, the day after the Benoit incident and after everything came in, I was just like, we were all shocked. And I just remember bringing all my Benoit stuff to the trash and literally throwing it away.
I got to go for me, my favorite match. It's not an actual Royal Rumble match. It has to be Bret Hart against Diesel.
Oh.
The double turn, the whole guys all running in. I really like that match.
Oh, that one.
That one.
Wait, that was
Survivor Series, I think.
I was thinking. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
I'm talking the one where we had.
That was great. Yeah, Shawn came out for a bit. Oh, that was great. And then Bret came into the Royal Rumble later and beat up Owen and got him.
Yeah.
That was a great.
I was a big fan of that one. I really like that. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I think it was 95.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was 95. It's a good one.
What was it? Oh yeah, I was talking about WrestleMania. We had talked about Ronda Rousey's role at WrestleMania, and I was talking about the 4 Horsewomen versus the 4 Horsewomen, and it looks like the 2 MMA 4 Horsewomen that we haven't seen in any format in WWE. They're like, yeah, we're done wrestling, so that's not going to happen.
Wait, say that one more time.
So there's the 4 MMA horsewomen, and there's Ronda, and there's one of the 4 horsewomen who are probably showing up in NXT pretty soon, and there's 2 more that I don't know their names.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we're done wrestling. We're not going to do it anymore. So there goes 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen.
That doesn't mean there goes Ronda Rousey.
No, absolutely.
Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, WrestleMania. Watch it.
I think it should be Asuka and Charlotte.
Personally, I think it should be Asuka. WWE does this very rarely now. They very rarely build up great talent to make you think that oh shit, they're a threat. Asuka is one of those. WWE does not do that anymore. Do you remember when we were younger? I mean, you're a little older than me, but you're not much. But we used to get vignettes of these people coming in, and it would be like, oh man, so-and-so's here. Chris Jericho, we didn't get a vignette, but when Chris Jericho arrived, he was the shit.
Razor Ramon.
Dude.
The Bushwhackers got vignettes.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember them?
No,
they were the department store. They were looking at clothes. Oh, what do you think about this, Cousin Luke?
God,
it was ridiculous.
But no, Razor Ramon, I do remember. I remember a lot of guys back then in the early '90s. We used to get these vignettes. Isaac Yankem.
Oh man,
I love wrestling. You get fucking guys like Isaac, but realistically, a lot of these guys now. God, think about that though. Glenn Jacobs Kane, he's been a top level performer for 30 years. It's from roughly 94 to now.
Yeah, at least
25 years.
Over 25.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Man, good on you. Good on you, Kane.
Yes, Mr. Perfect. Good job.
By
Greg
the way,
Anderson.
I personally think Mr. Perfect is the best wrestler. Well, yes, the best wrestler of all time to never win a world title.
I think I can. I'm on board with that.
A modern day Mr. Perfect, best wrestler of all time to never win a world title. Would you go with
Modern day,
modern day?
someone who is out of wrestling, but just recently.
Oh, anybody.
Well, because like I don't even know if I should count Dolph's either of his championships. They're so quick. Like one of them definitely doesn't even count.
Well, he didn't have any substantial runs as a champion. I agree with that.
But he has technically been champ.
But he's so good. He is really good.
Who do you guys think? Best wrestler to not be champion?
Owen Hart.
Ooh, that was a good one. I should have done that one.
Owen is a good choice, though.
I don't remember where I was flipping through, but I saw a picture. Do you know that when there was a time where Vince sent a couple of people down to USWA to go against Jerry Lawler, and
Oh, yes, I do.
that's when Vince was first like evil Vince.
Yeah.
And Owen Hart was the USWA champion.
Have
for a
you
while.
seen the YouTube videos of that?
I've seen some of them. Yeah.
So it's great because Bret Hart in the United States, in WWE, he was a face, complete face at the time. But when you saw the USWA stuff, he was a complete heel, and it was so good.
It was fun.
I actually watched this a few years ago. It's in parts, like 9 parts. I never got to see the whole thing, but I think I saw the first 3, and I was like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
And that's the charm of professional wrestling, though. It's that exactly. Now I know that I'm a big fan of New Japan, and Kevin hasn't been exposed to it very much, but in the WWE United States style, it's that's the stuff that we're missing. Going based on that, though, let's talk about the Royal Rumble because we have a lot going on with that. Who do you want to see win the match, and not only that, what do you want to see on the undercard?
Well, I want Nakamura to win the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
That is my hope.
So that's all right.
Undercard?
Undercard. That's the harder part. That's where it gets a little harder. Because where's
mean,
AJ? Where are you going to have
Things
AJ?
are kind of well, man. We just had SmackDown.
Kevin Owens beat him.
Yeah.
Did we get a Kevin Owens AJ Styles match?
I don't.
I mean, it feels like they're going towards that.
I mean, I guess I'd be fine with it. It just doesn't make a. I guess it makes some kind of
But
sense.
Kevin, we gotta realize Kevin Owens and AJ Styles had the best match of the night, not just on SmackDown, but probably on both shows. It was really good.
Oh, I have absolute no issue with the idea of the quality of an AJ and Kevin Owens match. It's going to be great. It's always going to be great in my mind. I think we've seen it a lot, but I guess if it's just the Royal Rumble as opposed to WrestleMania, I guess that makes sense. So yeah, I'm good with that, and it makes sense. I think they probably, keep them away from each other. What's the date today? It's just December 26th, day after Christmas. When's the Rumble?
Sometime in January, obviously.
Yeah.
Well,
so we're less than a month away.
Back to this, a lot of people are talking about some of the best wrestlers to have never won a world title. We got Matt that says Neville, Craig Anderson.
He said that it was a joke, though.
Okay. Craig Anderson says Hardcore Harley.
No, he shouldn't have been champion.
Oh, Ted DiBiase has a fair claim. Especially as hot as a heel as he was.
Did you ever hear that story?
About him being a champion?
He was supposed to win the tournament for WrestleMania 4.
Oh, yes, I did hear this.
And the Honky Tonk Man was supposed to lose the Intercontinental title to Randy Savage. And Honky was like, it was supposed to be on that main event. The one that a shit ton of people watched. And Honky was like, yeah, there's too many people watching that. I'm not doing that on TV. Maybe I'll do it on a pay-per-view. And they were like, I don't know, we kind of want you to lose the title on this show. And he's like, nah, I'm not doing that. So they acquiesced to him. And he lost at SummerSlam, obviously. But then then Savage was like, what the fuck happened? Savage didn't get Savage was supposed to beat Honky. And instead they just put him into the main event of WrestleMania 4.
Imagine how different everything would have been.
Yeah, if DiBiase had been the champ.
Well, I mean, looking back now, though, like I was a Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid, but looking back now, the Macho Man was my guy.
Sure.
Like he was amazing, and he wasn't necessarily a bad. I mean, granted, man.
I was a huge Savage fan.
I love Savage.
Then he cut Brutus's hair. Dastardly heel.
But realistically, nowadays, I feel like everything's a lot different now. We have a different WWE. But I really like Brutus Beefcake's another guy that never won a championship.
As the biggest Brutus fan in this room, city, county, and state,
maybe.
He shouldn't.
If you honestly,
do you remember when he went against?
If you come into our next episode with the shears, like the
I had them. I had shears. I took my dad's gardening shears and I cleaned them up, and I had red and white. I put red and white stripes on.
That's amazing. But Intercontinental Championship, I for sure thought he was going to win at some point.
He was going to win.
I know he was.
And then he got in that cursed parasailing accident, which
Tag Team Championships, I thought he was going to win at some point with Hulk Hogan. Didn't even happen there.
Brutus.
Okay, back to this. Let's go to some comments real quick. James Hamlin says AJ Styles will hold the WWE title until Mania. Face off against Nakamura at Mania. Drop the belt to Nakamura at Mania, and the dream will come true. Smart Wrestling / Christian Styles says, I'm sick of AJ Owens, to be honest. Wouldn't mind a 3-way with Sammy. I agree. That would be amazing. You got to admit, Sammy, Owens, AJ.
It would be fun. No, it'd be great. It'd be a difficult way. If it's difficult to think how any reasonable wrestling promoter, how is Shane McMahon going to say, yes, this is our match?
I don't get Shane McMahon. Is he a heel or is he a face? I do not understand it right now. I don't get it. But I do like that match. Sammy.
It would
maybe
be fun.
Daniel Bryan inserts his power. Says, you know what? It's going to be Sammy, Kevin, and AJ.
They would put a fourth in there. I feel that they would put a fourth.
Ty Dillinger, maybe.
Probably not Ty Dillinger. Who said Craig Anderson is very Triple H and Cactus Jack at the street fight at the Rumble 2000?
It was a great match.
That was exciting.
It's a great match. We've had a lot of good matches. I feel like. We also got Thomas Franco says Fastlane pay-per-view main event confirmed. Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Okay.
I think he's pulling your leg a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. Jalen Glover, hey guys, I'm gonna call it tonight. Have a good night, Jalen. McDolly, I guess we're back.
Job interview, kill it,
buddy.
Do good. Ask them if they say, do you have any questions for us? Ask them, what would you say the most challenging part of this job is?
That's funny because I actually had that question once. You know what I asked? So no bullshit here. This is a real life story. I had a group interview with people, and one of the questions that was exactly it. If you have any questions for us, what is it? Everybody asked their certain questions, and I said, if you can fly or be invisible, which one would you choose?
Jeez Louise.
Legit, that's what I asked.
Did you get the job?
I did.
Get out of here.
I did, and they were like, that is the best question we've ever gotten.
Can you tell us what the job was for?
Abercrombie and Fitch. I didn't get the job.
Well, that's good. That shows that you can talk to people.
Yeah, I'm a great talker. Hence why we do this show. But now, realistically, what I want to know right now, Kevin.
I'm not going to know the answer.
You're going to know the answer because you're going to give me your answer. Who is the most prestigious champion in wrestling today?
Who is currently the most prestigious
champion? Currently, right now, the most prestigious champion in wrestling today.
Okay, well, you got your AJ Styles. You got your Brock Lesnar.
You got your Roman Reigns.
Oh, I guess he is a champion.
You got your vacated. Oh, we got to talk about the vacated U.S. title.
I go with AJ Styles.
I'm not. Well, I mean, there's the Ring of Honor champion. There's Dalton Castle.
Yeah, but it's Dalton Castle, who is great, but I don't think he's the most distinguished champion.
Okada.
I don't know about him.
God, I can't wait till we watch Wrestle Kingdom here.
I'm getting better, Craig. I'm totally not going to be sick. I'm going to feel so good tomorrow.
All right, so great. I agree with you, though. AJ, well, I don't know if it's AJ, though, because Brock did dominate him, though.
Primetime says there is confirmation from the marquee, I'm assuming from the venue, that the Fatal 5-Way is confirmed.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah. But we'll see if it lasts. Really, man? All right. That's...
What's happening
Wait,
here?
hold on. Brock Lesnar not over AJ for you?
Fuck Lesnar. He's not around enough.
But he beat the shit out of AJ Styles in that match at Survivor Series.
He didn't beat the shit out of him. He won. But it was exciting. It was a good match.
It was a good match, but he still won. I mean, that counts for something, right?
Has anybody seen Joe? I got my good buddy Mark here that I'm talking to, who's interested in winning and losing in pro wrestling matches.
Yes, I mean when it's champion against championship, I think I care.
But you know, I don't think.
First of all, there was no storyline.
Sure.
Second of all, when it's a match, a one-off match, it matters who wins or loses.
I mean, it matters to a point,
I
but
think-
if you're basing the fact that
Alright,
he's the most prestigious champion,
Strategically,
out
I think WWE thought we need to give Brock Lesnar the win, mainly because he's not here all the time, and we need to build up this guy that's a fucking monster.
I think perhaps the main reason that I don't consider him to be,
And yes, Primetime, I agree with you. Okada would be my choice.
the main reason that I do not put Brock in that position is because he is off half the year at least. He's not here enough.
I don't disagree with you, but I think that leaves more mystique to it. For example, The Undertaker, especially at the end of his run for WrestleMania, he wasn't there a lot at all. But
what was he going to do? He was old as shit.
But he was still wrestling at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but that was, what are you going to do to build that up?
Promos.
Yeah.
That means literally come to the. Hey, Kevin, we just need you to come to the venue, maybe say a couple things, and you'll disappear. We need you to get it physical.
But with Taker, it's like, okay, we're getting ready for WrestleMania, big match with the Undertaker.
You know what?
Let's do the turn the lights out thing. Okay,
Kevin,
let's bring out the Druids. Okay,
I really wish we would have honestly.
Casket.
I really wish we would have started this show 10 years ago. And I'll tell you this why. I'll tell you why. It's because right now in wrestling, it's super polarized. Like, I think that there's not a ton of like companies out there that are offering a lot. However, let's forget about WWE. Let's just go on with wrestling in general. Something I mentioned to you earlier is who is the biggest free agent in wrestling right now?
And we talked about it, and I didn't really have a solid answer because
I don't think we do. I don't think we do, though.
Everybody's been taken.
Granted, does that mean we're in a different state of wrestling?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Back in we remember the NWO.
Oh yeah,
WWE,
yeah.
WCW. It was like, man, who's jumping next?
And depending on that, you could get like Buff Bagwell, or he might be a bad example, but like Scott Norton or somebody. If they were to come to WWE at that time, that would have been a big get. We don't necessarily have that now. So,
speaking of a guy you brought up earlier, remember when Jeff Jarrett came back from WCW, and it was presented as this huge thing.
NWA Jeff Jarrett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. And by the way, not only do I remember that, I love that gimmick. I love the fact that he was just kind of like, I'm all about tradition. Like, I really like that.
Here's the thing, though. It was a obvious ripoff. It was a reverse NWO. It was, we're bringing old school wrestling back. We're forcing it upon you. Rock and Roll Express and Heavenly Bodies. It didn't work. But it was an obvious. That's what it was. It was an obvious copy of the NWO. Remember when the WWF brought out the cruiserweight division? It's like,
yeah.
But it wasn't.
They called it the light heavyweight division then.
Yes, and it was a lot of Mexican wrestlers, and the only thing about them was that they were Mexican.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of high flyers.
Do you remember that Royal Rumble where I think it was 2006, 2005 maybe? Where it was the AAA athletes that were in that Royal Rumble. It was like Hector Garza, Mil Mascaras.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, and you can't just pick a guy because he's Mexican. They have to have talent.
Yeah, which I think that Triple H, honestly, one of Triple H's biggest first signs after Kenta, or which we all know now is Hideo Itami, was Sin Cara, which went his independent or his Mexican wrestling name was, what was his Mexican wrestling name? Do you remember?
Shit.
It baffles me as well.
It was oh man.
But it is Sin Cara. It was Sin Cara.
But let's talk about the history with Sin Cara.
Yeah,
because we're talking
that.
about him. Because Sin Cara and another guy had a fight over that name. Like, what wasn't? Let's make up a name. Estrella.
Yeah.
Estrella. And then what was it? Was it Estrella got injured, and somebody else took his part as Estrella in Mexico.
Yeah.
And that really pissed
Mystico.
off. Mystico! Good job, Primetime.
Thanks, Primetime.
So Mystico, so that they had that fight over that name. And then the guy who lost came to WWE, became Sin Cara, and then he got injured, and they brought in fucking Mystico
I think that, I mean,
to take over Sin Cara, and now the current Sin Cara is Mystico.
I don't think that was
Unico.
necessarily Unico. Yes, I don't think that's necessarily a WWE fault. I think that's more so of a.
Oh, it's just a crazy story.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. It's so sad though because the Mystico thing and man, looking back now, Sin Cara's still in the WWE under Unico, but like man, it's a crazy way to get there. But Triple H, that was Triple H's bad first signing.
And he had potential. I don't know. It could have worked.
But Triple H, Paul Levesque had the mindset of like he knew what he wanted to do. Yes, that's a bad first signing. But him signing all these guys we have now, Adam Cole, got Samoa Joe.
I think I saw an interview where he was like, you know what? I'm just booking stuff that I would really like to see.
It's so funny you say that. So, thinking about Triple H, and I hear all these shoot interviews and all these things about Hunter that are like, oh, Hunter does this, Hunter held people back. Listen, I was just listening to Bruce Pritchard's podcast. They did the Scott Steiner episode, and they talk about when Steiner came in and he wrestled.
Did they talk
Hunter.
to Scott?
No.
Okay.
But they did talk about because. Well, something I didn't know is that when Scott came in, Bruce Pritchard and a lot of people pitched. 1993 was the first year that whoever won the Royal Rumble vied for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, and they wanted Scott Steiner to do it, which makes sense though. Like you think about that, right? You get this guy that's a wrestling machine, has this look to go against somebody like Bret Hart at a WrestleMania because they wanted this shock factor. But Vince McMahon didn't go for it. He went with Yokozuna.
Well, I mean, okay, I think I heard different parts of this interview, and
go ahead.
I want to believe this is true. I don't have a real need for Scott Steiner. I think he's fine. He said a lot of crazy things. That whole math promo is hilarious. That's probably the best thing he done.
But it's Scott Steiner, Kevin.
But I heard that they offered it to Scott, and Scott was like, well, what's going to happen to Rick? And they're like, oh.
Well, that wasn't. All right, so, good. Yes, half of that, a part of that is true. That they offered that in WCW. That was hey, let's give you a world title run. What's going to happen with Rick? That's true.
But that happened, though.
That did happen in WCW, not in WWE.
So, well, but I'm saying that they offered it to him in WWF, and he turned it down.
No, not in WWF. From what I understand, that was never even pitched to him. Mainly because Vince McMahon shot it down right away. And what ended up happening is, Scott did his thing. He ended up, Big Papa Pump, it was a big deal. A lot of people at the Big Papa Pump time were like, Triple H is holding people down. And he may have been at the time. However, now, we flash forward 10 years later. Right now, we're in this time of wrestling where we're seeing, you and I especially, want to see the top tier talent here have the top tier matches in WWE. Bless you.
Sorry.
And we want to see those guys compete. Now, Triple H being like, hey, I would just book these guys because I want to see them. And I completely get that now because I feel like I'm Triple H. Like, I want to see that stuff too. Like, you kidding me? I want to see AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. I want to see Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor. We got to see Finn Balor and AJ Styles. You know what I mean? We already got to see, and that was an accident match.
And the crowd loved it. And the next day, Vince said, "Yeah, fuck Finn."
Yeah, that's true. We also got we got a lot of fantasy matches. Now, propelling that up to a little bit more, we can get so much more. And I think it'd be stupid of Vince McMahon not to see that. And granted, I'm sure that in certain cases, maybe he's making us want to wait for it. But Kevin, what are some of your some wrestlers that you may have wanted to see in a match that you never got to? What was that?
Like wrestlers fighting other wrestlers?
Yeah.
Like Savage and Punk?
Savage and Punk, that's a good one.
Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar?
Yep, that's another good one.
Man.
I always wanted to see Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart, but
Well, so did Bret.
yeah, you technically got it in that shitty match at
Oh gosh.
in WCW, but we never really got it.
Yeah.
But realistically, so you have a few
You know what I
matches.
want to see is Okada versus.
You don't even know anything about Okada.
Just,
You don't give
Just
a
being a
shit
jerk.
about Okada.
I'm gonna blow my nose now. I'm so sorry.
I want to see Okada. I want to see Okada and Daniel Bryan. I'd love to see Okada and I think Okada Nakamura.
Stone Cold and Punk. They really teased us. You're right. Prime
Dude,
time.
they did tease us. Remember all those little things for the video game they were doing? And I even swore that Austin said that he would come back specifically for Punk.
I mean, a lot of people said that when Punk was getting really hot. How about on Austin's podcast when he was talking to Paul E. and at the end of it, he really started teasing an Austin versus Brock Lesnar match that clearly was never going to happen. Do you remember that?
I do.
Texas Death Match. That's the way I do it. And he went total into working everybody mode. And Vince was pissed.
Because you're not going to get that.
Yeah, why
You're not
tease
going to
us?
get that. Why tease us if you're not going to get it? What's the match right now? Any wrestler, present day, that is still active, who would you want to see? A dream match.
Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Wait a second.
Oh, God.
That's going to happen.
It is going to happen. I'm actually really excited for that match, no joke.
I mean, Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar could happen.
That's your dream match. Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar.
That would be amazing.
Nope.
That would not be amazing?
It'd be okay. I
You're
don't think
out
it'd
of
be
your
amazing.
mind. Well, this interview is over.
Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar?
Fuck yeah, dude.
No.
You wouldn't want to see that match.
I want to see Brock Lesnar and Shinsuke Nakamura.
I want to see that also, but not as much as the other one.
No, Shinsuke Nakamura is so much of a better performer than Brock Lesnar.
I've been moving around a lot, Migdalia. I'm sorry. It's not his fault.
What are you talking about?
Ms. Melendez is making fun of how to frame this shot, but
Oh.
I've been moving around a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was on the
Look
documentary.
at that. Okada Bryan, Okada Punk, Okada Sammy.
Okada. That's all you really need is Okada. You know what? Yes, let's see Okada. Okada, fucking Josh Goldman. I'd watch it. Like, it doesn't matter.
Does Mr. Okada, and I'm only asking this for professional reasons, does he speak English?
Yeah.
Well,
He can't grade. I mean, as good as Shinsuke can.
Because that's Vince's first question. You know it is.
But realistically, though, do they need to speak English if you got somebody like Paul Heyman?
I think it would help.
No.
It wouldn't help.
I think
You're gonna have Paulie manage every foreign wrestler just because
but
they can't speak English.
Shinsuke does speak more English than. Hey, listen, I watch New Japan Pro Wrestling on Access every week. I don't give a fuck. At the end of each match, or at the end of not only each match but also each show, they have a promo that is subtitled. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that.
Well, 13-year-old wrestling fans who WWE wants to.
Craig
buy their
Anderson,
t-shirts.
yes, you're right. Daniel Bryan is one of the best technical wrestlers of all time. That's true. But Brock Lesnar isn't.
But that's what makes it, the beat. I wanted that.
Wait a minute,
I wanted
hold
that
on.
for a couple of years.
Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles didn't even live up to what Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles could have been. So I don't understand why people want to see this. Craig Anderson, I'd like to get your opinion on this. If you're gonna tell me that was the match of the year, then go ahead and say then I'm wrong. If AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar was the match of the year, I am wrong. But it was not. I'm gonna go as far as to say it was Kenny Omega and Okada. It was Kenny Omega and literally anybody he stepped into the ring with.
I don't disbelieve you. I'm just saying I haven't seen it.
You should watch it. I can't wait till we do Wrestle Kingdom, Kevin.
That's coming up. What is it? The 8th or the 4th?
I think it's the 8th. I think it's the 4th actually.
I mean, we're not that far away. We're gonna have to plan that shit out.
Well, listen. Let me ask you. So we know what matches, dream matches we want to see.
It is the 4th.
It is the 4th. We know what dream matches we want to see. What do you want to? What matches are you hoping that we're not going to get at WrestleMania that you think we could get?
I don't want Roman Reigns challenging for the championship, nor Cena. Those are the only ones that I really don't, that I have strong feelings about.
I agree with you on that. All right, so guys, let's hear your final questions or comments. Kat's agreeing with me. I left my ass off. That was definitely not the match of the year. That means AJ and Brock Lesnar, which of course it wasn't. It wasn't. Let's be real.
No, it was a fun match. It wasn't match of the year. I wouldn't say that.
It wasn't even the best match. It wasn't even the best match. It wasn't near the match of the year. I do think that.
But that doesn't mean it wasn't a fun match, though.
You're right, but it also wasn't a match that, like, knowing that style, I definitely want to see. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan in that style.
I would love to see it. You're gonna get Brock Lesnar throwing Daniel Bryan around the ring.
I saw that with AJ Styles. Why didn't you see it with Daniel Bryan?
AJ Styles is bigger than Daniel Bryan.
Is he?
Yes.
They're about the same size.
I don't think they are.
They're about the same size. Realistically, I think that you're gonna get the same kind of match at that point. I don't necessarily think we need to see Brock Lesnar against Daniel Bryan, because unless they're going to tell a completely different story, then that's a different thing. Personally, I think that if we're going to get Brock Lesnar against anybody, because first of all, I think that we still have more with him and Samoa Joe. I think there could be a lot more of a story to tell there.
Yeah.
I think that another guy that I'd like to see him go against, Shinsuke Nakamura. They had one match in New Japan. Maybe let's see what Shinsuke can do now. And another match that
would be exciting.
It would be exciting. Honestly, I'll be honest. I'd really love to see Dolph Ziggler and Brock Lesnar. If they're gonna let Dolph Ziggler not be just a fucking tool where he just gets thrown around. Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar 1-on-1, something else we haven't seen.
Remember when Dean Ambrose had his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania?
I do.
And Dean being pissed off, saying that
Brock didn't want to do anything.
He didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, he didn't want to do anything.
That sucks.
It sucks, and it also sucks. That is exactly why I don't want to see him wrestle against Daniel Bryan. So personally, for me, if I was going to see Daniel Bryan come back, let's get him in there against somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, I am not going to turn down a Brock Lesnar Shinsuke or a Daniel Bryan Shinsuke Nakamura match. I would be very excited for that. But don't take away my hopes and dreams.
Taking away your hopes and dreams.
Oh, man, I need those for dreaming and hoping.
Well, that's where they're only supposed to be, dreams and hopes. Speaking of that, guys, thank you so much for joining us for Call It in the Ring. Guys, next up on our network of things we do here live, Kelly has Achievement Unlocked. She's going to be playing some video games, talking to you guys. That's going to be on our Twitch channel. That is thathashtagshow.twitch.tv, right? Am I saying that right? Listen, if you go to Twitch and you go to That Hashtag Show, you'll be able to find us.
Twitch.tv/thathashtag.
Twitch.tv/thathashtag show. That's where you can find Kelly. She's about to start her stream up. Kevin just finished the Doctor Who show. That's where you can see that over on Pop Culture Renegades.
We
didn't talk about Rusev Day. But you can check out Kevin over there talking Doctor Who. He has a big, extensive Doctor Who knowledge. And Kevin, where can everyone find you?
I'm at Kevin Kittredge on Instagram and Twitter. And allrightpodcast.com has me and my buddy Ralph's podcast. All right, let's do a podcast.
And guys, Kelly's going to be doing an extensive discussion about video games. So, Josh, can you put a link into the chat here with their link? All you got to do is click that link, and you'll get some more hashtag show right now. But that's going to do it for us, guys. You can check me over at ScreenRant.com. Also, follow me over at that hashtag Joe. But that's going to do it for this week's Call in the Ring. We'll be back next week. I believe that's pretty close to the day after New Year's. We're going to be counting down to that 25th anniversary of Raw. But we'll be back next week talking the latest and greatest pro wrestling news. Guys, check us out then. Thank you for joining us, and please hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything trending in geek pop culture.
Thanks, guys.